Hey guys, Hafa Adai. Oh my goodness. I'm actually doing the live here in my car because my husband and his dad are working in the house and they had to use the shop vac for something. And yeah, there was a little bit of an incident, so now they're having to air out the house and clean up a little mess that the shop vac made. But yep. Uh, welcome to my second Tuesday talks. Topic of the hour is going to be the good, the bad, the hilarious, and the scary moments as a gig driver. But if you're just popping in, if you are here already, Mav, I'm not sure if you're still here or not, but if you are, thank you so much for joining my second Tuesday Talks live. And but again, like I said, if you're popping in during the live, go ahead and say hi. If it's your first time to my channel, if you could please, let me know where you are watching from. But if this is still part of the replay, I still wouldn't mind if you tell me, where you're watching from, especially again, if this is your first time to my channel. But I'm just going to give it a few more minutes to see if anybody else is going to be popping in. And hopefully I don't have any issues with connection out here, because I know that sometimes, even though I'm using my cell phone, sometimes I have connectivity issues out here, so I don't know. But again, if you're just now popping in, if you're here, let me know, please. That way I know who's watching, who's joining. Because I know, especially, I don't know if you're a gig tuber yourself, but when you're doing a live and it can be a little nerving because it's like you're talking to yourself. And honestly, I don't know if the audio is good. So if you are watching right now during the live, sorry about that, please let me know. Okay, hey Nieces, thank you so much for joining. I'm moving the microphone around again, so sorry for any additional noise. But I just got back from doing a quick shift. I'm still trying to build my acceptance rate on Uber Eats. I'm good. How's it going for you? I know I think you were there for Sheila's live earlier. But what was I saying? Oh, yeah. I recently also started my mini series of my journey to try and build my acceptance rate on Uber Eats. Because ultimately, although I'm still torn on whether, acceptance rate, if it really matters or not. But Yes, not doing great today, but here to listen and support. And I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, I actually didn't end up working yesterday because I was also feeling a little under the weather. And then, of course, it didn't help. On top of that, also my husband, his back was really bothering him yesterday. So, I mean, typically Mondays and Tuesdays are our days off, anyways. But because we've got an upcoming trip, we're trying to make as much money as we can, since there's going to be, I think, 3 days, and it's during a weekend. So we're not going to be able to make money during our little getaway. So, but again, if you're just joining the live, thank you so much for joining. And even if it's part of the replay, the lives that I do on Tuesday is part of my new thing that I started last week, which is my Tuesday talks. And the topic of the hour is going to be basically things that happen, during, a shift for gig workers. Back is what has me. Okay, so I wasn't sure if it was, and that was, I didn't want to say anything right away, but I wasn't sure if it was you or Mav that was having the back issues. So I hope you are resting. And again, thank you so much for joining the live. Yeah, I bought him this thing from Walmart. Even though we have other things to help him with his back, this one has been a little bit easier for him because it's something that can be hot or cold. And he just, whether he's doing cold treatment or heat, that's the good thing about that. And it just wraps around his waist. The only downside about that is because of the repeated use, it's Velcro. And I guess they expected the Velcro to go as strong after, so many uses of pulling it apart, because it has a hole on one of the sides. So I guess you can probably either tie it or wear a belt around it or something. But I was hoping that we'd get more people to join the live before I get started. I mean, it is only 7 after. And as much as I want this to run as long as possible, I do anywhere from an hour to hour and a half. And last week I did it at 7:30. I started at 7:30, and tonight I started at 7, which kind of worked out because I know Ray from Dashing Womble, he's got his live scheduled for tonight as well. So honestly, I can't remember if he is an hour ahead. So I don't know if his live is going on at the same time. And the other crazy thing is I have my Nightbot set up for this live, but again, because of the incident that happened in the house with the shop vac, my hubby told me I can't go in there until it clears out more. So then that way I can turn my Nightbot, make sure it's connected. Sorry. When you're trying to multitask, Um, how do I get that back up? Okay, sorry. I wonder if I might have to alter my day and time then, if that's the, especially if the other channels that are, doing their live at the moment, I've have more followers, uh, and it's hard, especially if the my followers are also following them, so, or subscribers, and it's a matter of bouncing in and out, which I have no problem as long as you do bounce into my my live. Hey Mike, thank you so much for joining. I don't know um if Mav is still here. Yeah, the only one that I know for sure, at least that I saw as of yesterday, was Dashing Womble. That his was scheduled for tonight. So if there was any other pop-ups I didn't see. How you doing there, Mike? But I'm doing my live in case you're just now popping in to the live from my daughter's car, actually, because if you hadn't heard, in our car last weekend the AC went out, and I'm here in Texas, so, and definitely you don't, it's not one of those times where you want to be driving around with no AC. I mean, we were working off and on still. My daughter was so gracious to let us use her car while we're doing our gig work, because as much as I don't like the heat. Yay, Nightbot is there. Hey Kevin, thank you so much for joining. And I saw that there, Mike. It's crazy. One of my sisters, she's become a cat mom. It started with like 2 cats, and then it's over the years, the cats have come and gone. But yeah, at the moment, I've got 3 fur babies with 3 cats. One of my daughters, and the other one is my son's, who is in the military, so he's not even here. And then one is ours. We did have 2 dogs, but they were boxers, and we lost them, the last couple of years. So it's, what's my favorite food? I'm from Guam, so I love Chamorro food, island food, any barbecue, things like that. So what about you? You must have done something, Mike, that they didn't like, or moved something, or uh, you did something to get on their bad side. So you need to find a way to make all of them love you. Convince the others to convince that one. But welcome, welcome, welcome to my Tuesday talks. My topic basically is just stuff, and it's kind of stuff that we talk about anyways, whether I join in on other people's lives, and it's something that I've touched up on my previous lives. But the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because it's always funny. It's always interesting to share the stuff that happens to you or stuff that you hear happens to others. And some of them aren't so funny, but, and one of the things most recently, and again, it was a topic that was touched up on, was I had another candid moment with a customer during a delivery. And when I accepted his order, it was on Uber Eats, and this was just the other day, he ended up messaging and saying, "Thank you so much for accepting my order." And I was like, "You're welcome." So get there, and because I had my phone and I was recording for content, and I look at my phone and I could see what he's wearing, and I kept my gaze down. I looked up for a brief second, but I kept my gaze down, and because he was talking, he's like, "Hey, how are you?" And I was like, "Great," and you see me walking, I walk up to him, and he was wearing some type of friar. I don't know if it was, when I say friar, talking about, like the priest in Robin Hood. That was the best I could describe. I mean, he was more than happy just looking at the expression and hearing the tone in his voice. But he had that door wide open and he just stood there, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. At least he was wearing a robe. Hey, Gigi. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome to my second, Tuesday Talks topic. But again, I'm just glad that he did at least have a robe on, and he had it nice and crossed over to where, how sometimes we wear a robe and we loosely tie it in the front, and so it's kind of open. No, I am just so glad that that wasn't the case. But I again, I didn't even look up to meet his gaze, because he was just standing there, like I said, from what I could see on my phone, because I was recording at the time. He was smiling. And I get back into the car and I look at my husband, and all I can see was that he was looking down and, shaking his head. And I was like, "Did you see that?" And he was like, "Unfortunately." I don't think you have a Nightbot yet, Gigi, but this was something I just started, a couple of days ago in preparation for this live. And because I had asked someone else, actually, I had asked Sheila about it, Dashing in Cyprus. And because I liked a lot of the stuff that was popping in here that was automated. And so I signed up for it, and you can actually create different commands, different sayings that just periodically, pops up in your live. And I believe what Nightbot can do also is act as a moderator. So that's pretty cool. Because I think one of the things that I had scheduled for Nightbot to say like every 15 minutes or something like that is talking about, saying hi. Make sure you hit that like button so I don't have to keep doing it. The bot commands for this channel are available. It is. I mean, and I only just got into a small portion of it. There is so much from what I've been researching on it that it can do for you. But it's very easy. I think what Nisi's just shared it. But you just go to nightbot.com and you sign up for it. It's free. And you just link up your YouTube to it. I'm not blue, so I can't activate it. And I'm not sure too because I think that's what Sheila had done on her live earlier today, and I don't know if that's part of the Nightbot thing, but whoever you list as moderators on your channel that ties it in, I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm still learning, and I'd like to be able to I'm still researching and watching other videos on others that have been using Nightbot. So, so far it is pretty cool. This is my first live, and this is maybe like my sixth time going live on my channel. So this is my first time the Nightbot is being used. And I've already seen a few of the commands popping up. But as I was saying, the good, the bad, hilarious, and scary moments. I learned in other channels we can do then certain things to activate it to say things. And I read about that too, but I wasn't sure how that worked. Because I see you did the exclamation point plus the like, but it didn't do anything. It says I have no mods. Yeah, and I don't see night. And I'm still trying to learn that. Sheila seemed to do that very easy. I need to ask her to set that up and see who can be moderators for my lives, especially for those that frequent my channel, and I do appreciate you guys for doing that and showing up to support my channel. How come you don't use Nightbot, Mike? So just hit the name. Oh, I get, is it something that I might, oh, there we go. Add as moderator. There. There we go. Did it work? You've seen one, you've seen them all. Well, for me, it's the first time, so it's still it's still pretty good. Well, thank you for that tip. Thank you for that tip, Gigi. Okay, now, and all this time I thought when I saw the wrench beside names when I was joining other lives that had the Nightbot active, I thought that just or actually even without the Nightbot active, I really just thought that was the level of the person that was subscribed to that, to that channel. I'm still working. Uh-oh. Got to be careful there, Gigi, because Nightbot. Oh, no. I didn't do that. Gigi, if you're still there. I didn't do that. Nightbot did that, and I don't even know. Hey, Sheila. Thank you for joining. And I think, and Sheila, you can correct me on that too, but I think once you're a moderator, there are some things that you can do once you become a moderator. Because I think, Sheila, you were saying something about watching how many emojis and how many times you have repetitive characters, I guess, because you might, be put on timeout by the Nightbot. Wait, make sure let me do that again. Oh. Because you're a spammer? Okay, so you actually have to set it up in Nightbot for, specific people to be moderators? Gigi, you're not a spammer. This is the real Gigi, right? Not because I've, especially in Sheila's lives, your Gigi was one, even Hybrid was another one. Maverick, I think, was also had. Okay. Like I said, I'm still learning. I'm still learning about some of the stuff we can do on for live streaming, and even using Nightbot, because again, this is just my first time using Nightbot. That's the word I was looking for, about all the fake and the clone accounts that were popping in. And you've been getting a lot in yours, Sheila. When I've watched your lives, you're getting a lot of those that are popping in. They say something, and the next thing you know, Nightbot puts them, or somebody, one of your moderators, puts them on a timeout. Really? I mean, that's a shame, though, that we, if it's, especially if it's a fellow gig tuber, that we have to deal with that, within our community. We should be there to support each other, and not find ways to, knock us down. But as I was saying, with the things that happen as a gig worker, that was something that was recent, that was you. It's funny sometimes with the clone accounts. And that is the thing. That is the thing with the clone accounts. They just copy whatever thumbnail you have. Hey Becca, welcome to my second Tuesday Talks live. And I guess that's the other good thing, especially once you start growing your community, and community both in person and online. Like if you are a gig tuber and you start developing your connections with, how do you know I'm not a troll? That is a good question, because I wouldn't know how. I wouldn't know how to. Well, thank you, Gigi, for popping in. But I just wanted to kind of touch up also on, and if there's anything that you guys want to share, that I can see your channel, in reference to, anything that's good, bad, hilarious, or scary moments that's happened, if you are a gig driver. Thank you for doing that, Sheila. There we go. But oh, I don't know, the last time I did my live, and most of my lives, unless it's at the end of a shift, I'm doing it in my house. But when I got home from doing a shift, My husband comes out and he's like, yeah, you don't want to go inside, because him and his dad are working in there, and he had to use his shop vac for something. And he says he doesn't know what happened, but instead of sucking things up, it kind of just like had an explosion of some kind. He had the doors open and all the windows open. So yeah, so that's why I'm sitting out here in the car doing my live. But as I was saying too, if you guys want to share anything, whether you're part of the live or if you're watching this as part of the replay, drop a comment. Let me know if there's anything that's happened to you that you found to be, good, bad, hilarious, and especially the scary moments. Okay, now we're going to be Shirley. What does that mean, Sheila? Unless that was an autocorrect. Okay. Okay. I thought, I don't even know what happens if you end up, because you think it's the real account, and then you end up um, um, allowing that person, selecting them to be a moderator. I don't know what happens after that. I don't know if that's happened to you yet, if you thought it was actually the real person before, having a chance to check to see if it was really them or not. But yeah, I think so too. I guess I need to do that. Because pretty much everyone that's here so far that's been chiming in on the chat, you guys have been, great supporters, and you've been coming to my lives here recently, which I truly, truly appreciate that. I left click on name and see their channel. What if at the time that I'm doing it, if you can do that from the iPad, because I'm using my phone to do the live, and I'm watching the live from my iPad, just so I can be able to see all the comments. Normally I'd be watching it from my laptop, but again, because I can't be in the house at the moment, no worries, Mav. Thank you so much for showing up and coming back. Yes, you were the first, but you were about a half hour early. Okay, so Mav is the real Mav. The fake you is worse than Goose. I want to make sure. Okay. But I don't know if you guys had a chance to see one of my recent shorts that I uploaded a few days ago. I think actually it was last week. Sheila, I think you did reply to it, and same for you, Becca. But have you guys ever, when you guys are doing your deliveries, when you guys are out and about, have you guys ever been followed? So this is actually going to fall under the scary moments of what happens when you're doing gig work, because last week, and that was another time where, I'm so glad that my husband and I actually do this as a duo when we're doing our gig work, because, he's observant like that. And, but last week we were on a 3 customer delivery for Spark under his account. And so we were doing the deliveries, and pretty much all 3 was in one community, and they were just a couple of minutes apart from each other. But we get to the first one, my husband notices this car pull up about, 2 houses up and just parks, and he thought at first it was just another delivery person, because that's happened to us before. We happen to either get to the same house or in the same general area. We see another car pulling up, they sit in their car a moment, or they get out and to make their delivery. So he didn't think anything of it. We make the drop off for the first one, and then we go to the second one, and he saw the same car, and this car had dark tint, so we couldn't even see the people inside of them. So we don't know if it was one person or 2 people or 3. We don't know, because it was that dark. And we make it to the second one, and hey, Kat, thanks for joining. Thanks for chiming in. Glad you're here. But we get to the second one, and he notices that same white car, and it did the same thing, 2 or 3 houses away, just parks. And that time, he did kind of pay attention, and he said that he still didn't see anybody. He didn't see anybody get out. So we make the delivery, and we go on to the third drop, which was maybe at least 2 minutes away from the second one. And maybe a minute after we get to our third drop, lo and behold, he sees that same white car. Again, it has dark tint, so we can't tell how many people were in the car. And they did the same thing. Where the house was for the third drop was literally across the intersection. So you got the main road, and then you got another road that comes like this, and that house was right there. So the car turns onto that road and parks about 2 houses down, and did the same thing. But this time, because my husband was really paying attention to the car, he noticed that no one ever got out. All they did was just park. No one ever got out, and he did bring it to my attention that, he was like, that's the same car that was at the other 2. And at that time, I should have, I wasn't quick thinking about that, because normally I would grab my phone and take a picture, or at least start recording. And so he was just like, they never got out of the car. They seemed to be following us. So as soon as we made the drop for the third one, and that is something, Mike, that we definitely will keep in mind if that ever happens again. But as soon as, just to test it out, all we did was leave that house and drive up about 2 houses up and pull over right away. And we waited. And again, not even a minute later, we see the car pulling out of that street. And as soon as it turned onto the street that we were on, they saw that we were parked already. And so they immediately pulled to the side. And there happened to be one car behind us. So there was a car that was blocking the view. And I had my phone out already, to take a picture and start recording. So we have, actual evidence, or proof of the vehicle that that we saw. But my husband told me that if it weren't for me being in the car with him, he would have turned around and, drove by the car, basically make some type of confrontation. And I'm like, no, you don't even need to be doing that, even if I wasn't with you. So as soon as he saw that car do that, we immediately took off. And so we drove around to the end of the street. We parked, and we waited to see if that car, we did it again. We waited to see if the car was going to continue following us. And it was maybe 2 minutes after we had parked that I noticed behind us that that same white car had pulled out of another street that was 2 streets behind us. And they kind of paused. So I don't know if they noticed that we were still, parked on the side of the road, and it looked like they were going to turn right, but then they decided to turn left. So again, I mean, hey, Tina, thank you for joining. Yay. I know this is your first time joining my live. So yay. Don't forget to hit the like button. But yeah, it took a moment for me to calm down, because that's never happened. We've been doing gig work for well over a year, and my husband and I have been driving together for at least 6 months, and that never happened before. I mean, there were moments, when you're going home, and before you actually get to your neighborhood, you're on the main road, and you look behind you, and every time, your signal came on, so did theirs. They're following you, and it's just like, what? But because I've done it myself, to where I'm the person following the person ahead of me, but it just happens to be that we lived in the same neighborhood. But this one here was different because of the fact that they stopped every time we stopped, and they waited in their vehicle. So been here for a bit, but didn't know how to join the chat. Oh, well, I'm glad you figured it out. So yay. So if you're just now joining, although the topic is still open to anything, one of the things I just wanted to share are some of the good, the bad, the hilarious, and the scary moments that happen during deliveries or shopping. Everyone smashed that. Thank you, Sheila. But actually, a couple of my sisters have joined the live, so yay. Here's another funny thing. My husband and I were shopping, doing our personal shopping. And I don't know if you guys, especially if you are a personal shopper for Spark or Instacart, or even doing it as part of DoorDash. Do you guys ever get to the point where you're getting ready to check out? And because, especially if you do a lot of Spark, which is what we do. And when we get to the register, what do we start doing? For the most part, we scan between the two of us, especially if we're there with each other. One of us is actually scanning the QR code, and the other one just starts bagging. Well, I was the one at the register, and my husband, he started grabbing a couple of things out of the cart to automatically just start bagging. And he's like, wait a minute, we're not doing a Spark order. This is our stuff. So have you guys ever, done Spark so many times that when you're in the middle of shopping, well, not in the middle, but when you're checking out, that you're like, you just automatically start bagging? So I thought that was pretty funny. So it's, especially if, again, because we do Spark so often now that, and when my husband is with me, you have to make that mental note. This is our stuff. We have to pay for it first before we start bagging. Sorry, I thought it was in here. That's why. Another thing to share are the good moments, as a gig driver. Whether you're dashing, whether you're Ubering, whether you're Sparking, the good moments or slash what can be great is when you get to the customer's place, and whether it's a small order or simple, fast food delivery, and They're like, wait a minute, I got something for you. And you get a cash tip. And even though you already know that you're not expecting it because the customer has already tipped in the app, so you're not even thinking anything of it. And you end up getting a cash tip. So I find those moments, even if it's 2, 3 so far, and that happened maybe about 2 weeks ago, my highest cash tip was $20. And I was smiling ear to ear. And I told the customer, I was like, you don't know how you made my day. And he was like, well, we appreciate you. So I got a $20 tip during that one time. And it's so far, that's the highest. Otherwise, it's anywhere from $2, $3, and $5. And today, I got another $5 cash tip. And they were like, I know I already tipped in the app, but I just wanted to give this to you. So that was pretty awesome. And it was supposed to be a leave at the door, but the customer ended up coming home right after we pulled up. So that was pretty cool. That definitely was a good moment that you experience as a gig driver. I don't do shopping orders much, so not here. That's funny though. Yes, please do, Sheila. And while you're typing that, I'm just going to share another, it kind of falls under the bad, but there was a recent, what do you call that? Now I just lost my train of thought when I was trying to think about the incident. Because the bad thing is about it, at least I make it fall under the bad, is because when you accept an offer and the offer itself is exceptionally high, when you know, whether it's Uber Eats, DoorDash, any of the gig apps, and you know the offer is exceptionally high, and the first thing that crosses my mind, which I'm trying not to do that, is, what, I've said it out loud a couple of times, but then most of the time I'm just thinking it to myself, is, man, I hope this doesn't turn out to be a tip bait. Because, a few weeks ago, we did get tip baited, and it wasn't a simple thing of, reducing the tip to $2, $4, $5. It was actually $14 and some change. That it wasn't a reduce. They completely removed their tip. And we know for a fact that because it was a curbside, everything went well. If there was anything damaged in, as part of the groceries, because although we do help the loaders, we can't personally inspect every item that's bagged. So if there was anything damaged, and if that's the reason why they took the tip away, that's still something that they shouldn't take out on the driver. I mean, especially when it comes to the Spark orders. I mean, if it's a food delivery and something happens, again, they shouldn't take it out on the driver if the bags are sealed. Because how are we supposed to know if something is in there or not, or if something is messed up, because the box open and so the food is seeping out or whatever. If the bags are sealed, how can they blame that on us? How can they take away the tip for something that's out of our hands? Yeah, Catherine is actually my oldest sister. And on a side note, all of my sisters, there's 7 of us. All of my sisters, we all dance, but only a few of us actually danced. The 4 oldest one, they were taught when they were younger. I myself, at one of the places that we were stationed at, I was part of a hula sister group. So I got to do that for a little bit. But the biggest thing is that we dance for family. I had the same. Okay, let me see. I had the same experience today with my deliver that order. Oh, deliver that. It always confuses me sometimes when I'm reading because of the fact that it's called deliver that. Today with my deliver that order, I delivered the order and the customer was so sweet. She handed me a $20 cash tip at the end on top of the tip in the app. So that is pretty cool. That is pretty awesome. But I'm curious because from watching other people talking about, and I don't know if it's this one or the other catering apps, because the tips is supposed to be a pool. Is it only part of a pool if the tip is done through the app and cash tips don't go towards that? So I'm just curious if that's how that works too when it comes to cash tips. But that's part of the bad. It's when especially if you look at your ratings when it comes to customer experience, and it's up there, whether you're max, at the 5 or 100, at 100%, or, you're a 5-star, 4.9, when it comes to customer experience and your rating is high, but yet you've got these customers, they're just like, yeah, I put that in there just so somebody would grab my order, and then I pull it back. Whether everything went smoothly, no problems, Do these in the app. Well, that's pretty. When is payday? The day after? I've never done the Dancing with Fire. So far, one of my nieces has done that with the poi balls. But to also moving on to another part of it was I say it's hilarious, but at the same time, it's embarrassing. And for those of you guys that have been following my lives, you've heard me kind of, bring this up before, but oh, you've only done 2 orders so far. Oh, and I don't know if I mentioned that to you or not, Sheila, but I applied for Deliver That. And the same day, and with actually probably within the hour of applying, I was notified that I was not a good fit. I don't know what that means. As far as I know, because I'm watching, the test that you're supposed to take, I'm watching the videos and I'm answering the questions at the same time. And so I don't know. I don't know what that means. I guess I just need to go back to that email, because it does say if you want to reach out and, to find out why. But I thought that was very interesting. I didn't think that I failed the test, because again, I was, taking the test the same time that I was watching the video. So, but apparently I'm not a good fit for Deliver That. And I have no idea as to why. Okay. Hey, thank you so much for joining. I don't know if that's supposed to be the STKZ. Thank you so much for joining. I don't even know if that's supposed to be, if it's supposed to stand for something. Automatically I want to say steaks. So, but I don't know. But thank you so much for joining my live. I appreciate that. But again, it's borderline hilarious to embarrassing, but it's kind of touching up on, in case you guys that weren't here towards the beginning of the live. Uh-oh. That's going to be my next one to try, Zifty. Since we're kind of in the same neighborhood, I'm going to apply for Zifty and see hopefully there's no issues there. I didn't time him out. Nightbot did it, so I don't know. I don't. Who the heck are you, my evil twin? What? I don't. I don't know what happened there. I guess I must have missed. Okay, so how do I stop Nightbot? Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at the message. I mean, I don't know if that's what you were trying to say, but the message says, "Who the heck are you, my evil twin?" I don't know if that. I'm gonna try Zifty first, and then see what happens with that before trying delivered. But when I scroll back up next to their name, Nightbot has I don't know if you guys can see that, or that's just something on my end. But there was a message next to 3. Again, I don't know what STKZ, but there's a message next to it that says, "Who the heck are you, my evil twin?" And then in the brackets, it says, "Stop spamming caps, warning." But you weren't even using caps from the messages that I saw. Hey, Kevin. Welcome back, because I think you were in a moment ago. Yeah. So like I said, I'm hoping Zifty, won't give me any issues, but I do have to look into why I'm not a good fit for Deliver That. Okay, stacks. Okay. But it was something that happened a couple of months ago, actually. Some of you might have already heard about this story, but and I do have a video of it. I don't know if I actually ever put it as part of one of the videos during the time that it happened, but same concept, because I'm recording for content and I am walking up to the customer's house and I've got his food in the other hand. And again, because I'm looking towards my camera, I can see when he opened the door and he was wearing boxers and nothing else. Shirtless and boxers. But the only thing is that it's not your regular boxers. It was ones that I call ones that we would call peekaboo. No button, peekaboo. And so I'm like, and I actually had, it was groceries that I had in my hand. And I did the same thing. I couldn't even look up to the customer. I'm just kind of like looking at the bags, and I'm trying to move my phone to where I'm not, because he's standing there and he's kind of moving because he's taking the bags out of my hand. And I don't want him to, expose himself any more than he already was by answering the door in his boxers. So all I was doing was just handing, I'm like, there, thank you so much. Have a good day. Thankfully I didn't have to take a picture because it was a meet the customer. But again, I find that to be, hilarious moments. And I am not looking forward to when it's a moment like of other viewers and other supporters to my channel have shared, that, You get someone who's naked. Yeah, naked. Exactly. No shame. They, like I said, earlier with that first um, hilarious, funny moment that just happened the other day where the customer had answered in their robe, but again, at least he had it nice and closed, and not just have it, how sometimes we close our robes, but not all the way. And we kind of do it like a loose knot. So you're still kind of, showing what's there. At least he had it nice and tucked and everything. But what was funny about that one was, again, it reminded me of like the Friar Tuck, Robin Hood, that type of robe. So, yeah. But so far, thankfully, it's, I don't know. I mean, it is crazy what customers, when they know they're getting a delivery, when they know the driver is going to have to come up to the door because it's a meet the customer type thing. And they just open the door wide like, hello, world. Take a look at me. So, but, and the other scary moments, and this right here is something that's happened periodically, since we started driving and doing gig work, is the close calls when it comes to accidents. How many times, someone cuts you off, someone who's not paying attention to the traffic light, and they think that they can, skate by and, make the light, but their light turns red, and so the next part is going. How many times that, we've seen people just run the red lights. I mean, blatantly run the red lights, not to the point where it's turning red as they're going halfway through the intersection. I'm talking about our light is green, and then we see them drive by. Because yesterday, was it yesterday? No, the day before yesterday, we unfortunately, when we were doing Spark, and we tried to look it up in the news to find out if it was actually a fatality, but there was a traffic jam that ended up over there by the Walmart that we were working at, and we were waiting on a curbside, and we see that there's a commotion going on by the road, and apparently one of the vehicles, we didn't see the condition of the other vehicle. We didn't know where it was at, or at least I didn't see it. And but one vehicle, the rear end was smashed in, and the driver's side of the car had been pushed up to one of those large light poles, and it was a cement light pole. But there was at least 4 ambulances there. There was a fire truck, and a handful of cops, and they literally created like a barricade around the scene, and they were there for a couple of hours. Like I said, at the time that it happened, we were waiting at the pickup side at Walmart, and we ended up having to do a little detour because we couldn't go to that area to exit Walmart. But as we're driving in the opposite direction, that's when we saw one of the cars. But we were gone at least an hour, maybe just over, because we ended up working at another store because of that accident. We didn't want to deal with, if we're going to get stuck in traffic and whatnot. So we ended up working at another store to do an order. And when we were done, we were like, okay, let's go back. And when we got back, there was still ambulances there. And I think a tow truck was there too. But it was well over an hour that incident, it was possibly even 2 hours at least. So again, we don't know if it was a fatal accident. That is true, Sheila. That's kind of what I do. Even though, I mean, of course, there are moments when you're in a hurry that as soon as your light turns green, you want to take off. But most of the time, especially when, I'm the one driving, I do wait a couple of seconds, or at least I'm looking, right before I hit go or hit the gas pedal and start taking off. Because again, as a driver, you get these people that aren't paying attention, and they start coming into your lane. Or a highway, when people are driving 65, 65, 75, 85. And because this happened to us over a week ago when we were coming home during a shift. And I happened to be looking down at my phone. But my husband noticed a van coming out to get, to join the highway. We were on the outside lane. And so when they pulled onto the highway, they decided to get into the outside lane. So my husband was already starting to move over to the left lane, but for whatever reason, and we were already traveling at least 70, maybe 75. And we were a distance back, when we saw the van first still come out. So, he had time to react. But at the last minute, that van, when we had moved over, to the left lane, the van at the last minute decided to change lanes. So we had to, and that's when I looked up at the last second. All I see is this van, and my husband having to slam, the brakes to avoid hitting the van in front of us. And we kind of have to, swerve over into the shoulder, because we couldn't turn right, because we don't know for sure if there was going to be any other traffic, coming to the right of us. So that was another scary moment. That's things as a gig driver, whether it's stuff that's happening, in a neighborhood or the highways, between deliveries, after delivery. So that is scary. I mean, because I looked up just at the last second when I see the van in front of us, when he had just decided to change lanes at the very last second on a highway. That is just crazy. But just a quick side note, if you guys haven't already seen that, those videos, the first 2 episodes of my battle to increase my acceptance rate on Uber Eats has already dropped. And the third one actually at the end of this live, and as long as I get the green light to go back into my house, I'll be dropping the 3rd episode of my battle. But ultimately, at the end of this, my biggest reason, because there's a big part of me that still believes that your AR does not matter. But the biggest reason why I'm doing this is because I'm challenging my eldest daughter, who also does Uber Eats. So we're going to work maybe a 2 or 3 hour shift. We're going to work in the same area. And because she's currently sitting in the low 70s, she's been fluctuating between 70 and 75. So I'm trying to get, no, I'm not trying to get up there to 60 or 70. I'm actually at the minimum. I'm trying to take it at least to the 35 before we can do the battle. Because part of it would just be, for the fun of it, to do that challenge. The other reason is to really to test it out, because she's been doing Uber Eats a lot longer than I have. I mean, maybe a year or 2 longer than I have. So I want to see, that's going to be the test for sure. If I'm sitting at between 35 and 40, and if she's sitting between 70 and 75 on the type of offers that are coming in, and whoever's going to make the most. But that's going to be the challenge, is whoever can make that most within a 2 to 3 hour period. So I'm actually, I'm anxiously waiting to be able to do that. And because I know how difficult it is to raise your acceptance rate, I only I only do an hour to an hour and a half, because I already know that if I, do it a lot longer like that, I'm going to start cherry picking. So I'm practically accepting every offer that comes in within that first hour to an hour and a half, just depends. So, and within that time, in the last, week, I've been averaging anywhere from doing 3 to 4 offers in that time period. So that will be fun. I don't know how anyone get to 60 or 70 on Uber Eats, because she does it part-time. So that definitely is one way to maintain it, is if you're doing it part-time. But because I've been doing it, well, I don't do it as full-time anymore, but when I was doing it more often, and then when things started to decline, and that's when I started using, Uber Eats less and less. Definitely is, and that's why I keep calling it a battle, because it is. And I've already, and like I said, even though I think in a couple of the videos I did say accepting every offer, accepting every offer, but I still will deny one, if it's absolutely ridiculous, especially if it's a no tip but high miles. Even though I'm doing this challenge, that's the reason why I'm labeling it as a battle, because the cherry picker in me will say no. If there's little to no tip and it's high miles, battle or not, I won't accept it. But that's the other reason why I'm doing the Uber Eats shift really short, doing an hour, maybe an hour and a half, because then I'll definitely be coming across, if I try to do my normal 2 to 3 hour shifts, that I will be coming across more of those ridiculous backward offers. Hey there, I do apologize, I don't know how I would pronounce that, but Care. Thank you so much for joining my live. Welcome to my second Tuesday talks. Aw. Well, you can tell her thank you. Tell Gigi thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you for stopping in and seeing what my live is about, which, at least for tonight's topic, and it's not the only thing that we're talking about during the live, is just experiences you go through as a gig driver. The good, the bad, the hilarious and the scary. But welcome. I still see the windows all open in my house, and my hubby hasn't come out to tell me that it's all clear yet. But just in case you're curious, for those that didn't know, the reason why I'm doing it in the car, because typically I do the lives in the house, is because there was a little accident with the shop vac. It had a little bit of an explosion, so there was they're trying to clear it out in there. So again, he hasn't come out to let me know that it's all clear. But that's the reason why I'm sitting in the car. But here's a quick question for you, especially for those, the regulars to my channel, which again, thank you so much. Where did he put the cats? I don't know. But hey, Zoe, I don't know. He didn't tell me. I'm hoping that, because they're working on the wall, I'm hoping that he did what I had suggested by putting them upstairs, so we don't have to worry about them trying to get into the wall. You're gonna have to text him about that, so I don't know. Now I forgot what I was gonna ask. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna ask. trying to see. What is something else that's happened recently? Oh, and it's the impatient side of me, but I recently did an interview with a reporter, and this kind of falls under the bad part of being a gig driver. Is the issues that we're dealing with: scammers, fraudulent accounts, bots, and that's pretty much what the interview was about. And it's a reporter that you guys might have seen. He works for Business Insider, because I've seen several of his articles that he talks about fraud accounts, and he did a recent one, which I did do a short on it. He did a recent one on bots that has affected Instacart. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Care. And I hope I'm saying that right. I appreciate that. That definitely has been a battle. My daughter tells me not to pay attention every time it dips, but I can't help it. I get excited when I see it increases 1, 2, 3, and then I'm like, I get the frowny face when I see the that I would lose, a sub, and I'm like, oh. But yes. So he told me that it'll probably be within the next, at least 2 weeks. So that's something you guys will be seeing me post as soon as it does happen. And you'll know for sure, because he did get my permission on, what to share exactly, in reference to a source, me being a source for his article. It will say Melissa from Texas. But I'm anxiously waiting, for more reporters, more of the news media to really push the issues. And that's the bad side, the bad experiences as a gig driver. The issues with bots, fraudulent accounts, scammers. Because, yeah, there are people too that are just trying to make money, but they're taking money away from the legitimate drivers, because that's affected us. The fact that, is it clear? We're good? Okay. No, but yeah. He says it's a lot better now, so I can go in the house if I want to. But I'll just finish the live out here. So, but it's because this type of stuff has, it's a nationwide issue. A lot of the drivers out there who are working their butts off, but yet they, and I firsthand know the frustration when you see the same people or the same group of people, not just 1 or 2 people, but a group of people coming in after you, pulling up, getting offers, going to deliver and come back. And I'm mainly talking about Spark. But, it is very frustrating to see that, and I can't wait. I keep checking my emails to see. But again, that's the impatient side of me. But, I really wish, it's already hit the news about the fraud accounts with, the other companies, Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub. And that's great. But I'm like, if you're going to hit those, apps, why didn't you touch with the other places like Spark, who's really, suffering from that situation? And all the people that are on Spark, all the drivers, all are suffering from, loss of income because of the issue of scammers and bots. So I don't know why they didn't just attack all of those gig apps. They should have included Spark as well as Instacart. I mean, I told the reporter, I don't know if it's because, especially with Uber Eats and DoorDash, it's more nationally known, I guess. It's more heavily advertised, to be a driver for those apps. So I don't know if that's the reason why it got a little bit more attention when it comes to, that issue. I hope so. I hope so. I mean, um, he did say that he would check out my YouTube channel, because I told him I do have some clips on my channel but of course it's edited. I would blur out the people and the car, and so he said he would watch the videos and he'd let me know um, if whether I need to send him the unedited version of the evidence. So we'll see. Like I said, the interview just happened a couple of days ago, but I'm still anxiously waiting to see. And I mean, he did tell me he had another article that was ready to go out, and I guess the one that I saw the other day, the one about the bots, because he did ask me about that, and my experiences with it, and if I had any other knowledge about it. So I shared that portion. But that's what his article was about. Really, was about bots. Yeah, exactly. That's why I found it, when that news came out, when they were hounding Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub, you know, I'm like, what about Spark? What about Instacart? But I guess they're not as popular. They're not as popular. But they're still, and that's the crazy thing, is because there's other gig tubers out there that they are really going after the people they feel are the scammers, and using the fraud accounts, because they see them. I mean, they're not even editing their footage. They show the people, their faces, their cars. It's crazy. And because of some of the things I've also been told about it, you got being careful not to mess with some of these people. And that's the reason why any clips that I include in my videos, that I upload, I try to make sure I'm not showing their face, not showing their complete car, their license plate and stuff like that, because you never know. Because the town I'm in, despite it, growing, it's grown in the last decade. It's still kind of a small town. So, especially because we only have one Walmart. But that's the reason why, too, we've traveled to a different zone that's 35, 40 minutes away. So I'm anxious about that. But that's the reason why, if you do Spark, if you know others who do Spark, I was the one that actually reached out to the reporter, because I saw that he did a similar topic. And at the end of the article, it does say, if you are, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or something like that. I was like, yeah. And one of the persons that he had talked to in a previous article happened to be from Texas also. So I was like, okay, so he's talking to people nationwide, not just because he's based in DC. But it was really good. It was really awesome that he didn't, when I emailed him, I was like, you never know, we'll see. He responded within a couple of days. And because my husband has reached out to our local news channel, and that was like a month ago, and never heard anything. Nothing's become of that. So I'm really, really hoping that something will become of this article. And so if you know someone, if you have any contacts when it comes to the news media, whether it be, the news station or digital print, like for Business Insider, like the interview that I did, any type of, I guess, what do you call that? Getting the word out there. But that's, on the other hand, especially when I was talking about blurring out the people, the fact, I don't know, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if I would actually publicly put the um, the article out there, because of the fact that it's going to say Melissa from Texas, and I don't want to admit that on my channel. But I've already said it, so I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. We will see. We will see if I actually put that out on my channel or not, because we'll just have to wait and see. But I don't know if Dashing Womble's already started his live or not, but it's already almost an hour and a half into the live. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining my live, for supporting my channel. I truly, truly appreciate that. I've still got a little bit to go. I mean, on here it shows that I've got 340 subs. And I'm sitting just under 1,300 watch hours. So I've still got a long way to go. But all the support that I'm getting, you know, it's very, very, very much appreciated. You guys know who you are. The regulars to my channel, those that keep commenting on my videos, I truly appreciate that. But if you haven't already done so, I do appreciate that if you do hit the like, hit that subscribe button, and help get the word out there about my channel, because I talk everything about gig work, but it's also, you know, it's called Gig Life and More, because I do share other aspects about my life. And that's kind of the segue into the next live that I plan on doing. Is I want to do a cooking, you know, it would be what's for dinner type thing. And it's going to be something that I haven't decided exactly on the dish, but of course it's going to be a Chamorro dish. It's going to be something that I, you know, grew up eating, and I make as an adult. So be on the lookout for that. Wait for it to get sent to you and check it out. That's exactly what I'm going to do. That's why I say I'm impatiently waiting and checking my email every day and see if he, you know, sent me any updates, or I don't even know if he's going to send me the article before it gets, you know, uploaded. So and I do, you know, thank you so much, Sheila. You definitely, you know, that helps. I do appreciate that very much. And you're pretty awesome for bringing other YouTubers, I mean gig tubers, onto your channel when you're doing your lives. That's pretty awesome. So I don't know that many other channels that I follow that are doing that. So kudos to you. That is pretty awesome. That you're pretty awesome for doing that. But again, don't forget, I already have my first 2 episodes out there about my battle to raise my AR and Uber Eats, and the third one is going to drop tonight. So please go check that out, and be on the lookout for next week, Tuesday topic, and it's going to be called What's for Dinner. I still just haven't decided yet on what I'm going to cook, so but please stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. It does. It does. Well, you guys have a good night. Stay safe out there. Again, thank you guys. Sidu'us Ma'asi for watching my channel or my live, attending, chatting. I appreciate that. Stay safe out there. Let's get out there and make our money. But make sure we make it home safely, especially if you guys are out there working as you are watching this, or if you're getting ready to head out to work. Stay safe. Y'all have a good night. Adios for now. Hasta later. Bye. Adios, hasta gupa.